Anthropic is maybe the company that has been doing the most AI safety research, and how, but they also contribute to this AI race dynamics of building capabilities. Do you have an opinion on whether they are net good or net bad for AI development?
Yeah, that's a really good question, and depending on what I answer here, I might make some enemies. And but I think Anthropic didn't start the arms race. So I think they're actually like net positive here, because there's a lot of talent that have left the other labs because they were not satisfied with them taking safety seriously enough. And I know that Dario is trying to push for what he calls like race to the top instead of a race to the bottom. So that means essentially like leading with safety and pushing the other labs to be more safe. So I actually think they are a net positive, because they didn't start it. Or, I mean, arguably, Dario and others in Anthropic worked for OpenAI back in the days. And I think they probably shouldn't have released, ChatGPT in the first place and started this arms race. I think I sort of understand that they did it from good intentions because, okay, it's better that all of society knows about this technology so we can have public discourse. And once, the cat is out of the bag, it's possible to sort of talk about it and also have regulatory discourse around it. So in some ways, like my job was way, way easier now because of it. That's one of the reasons why I actually left the Future of Humanity Institute over a decade ago and went into the issue of climate change, because it was impossible to get any regulatory traction on artificial intelligence, because people saw it as sort of non-existent. So I'm trying to steelman why they did what they did, but I think in hindsight, what they should have done is that they should have showed these powerful demos to regulators, and they should have done that in a very convincing way, like looking at GPT-3, and then a few months later now we have GPT-4. Like, look
Yeah.
what this will done on unemployment, and look what this can do in terms of aiding in the creation of bioweapons, because the base models can actually lower the threshold quite significantly there. And obviously they don't release those models in the open. So all of you viewers, the models that you interact with have sort of this thin safety layer on top. And with thin, I mean like really thin, because it's very easy to sort of jailbreak. But yeah, so to sort of answer your question, if I was like Dario back when he worked for OpenAI, I would have been but I don't know the whole story. Maybe that's why he
Yeah.
left in the first place, because he didn't see that as a wise move to sort of do what they did. But yeah.
Yeah. Do you think the release of ChatGPT was really significant? Like the counterfactual of them not releasing it? How do you think the world would be dramatically different, or would someone else just release it a couple months later and it would be the same?
I think they made a huge bet. I mean, they put all of the money in the bank behind like scaling laws being true.
Yeah.
And nobody at that time were willing to make that bet. So I think they probably, like, things could have gone like 5 years slower, because there's like, I can't think of a single entity that were willing to do that bet, but they made that bet.
Yeah.
So I think it would have happened inevitably because of Moore's law. So at some point, maybe 5 years later, it would be cheap enough for anyone to take that bet. But 5 years is still like a lot when it comes to AI governance, because now we're talking about now, and this is the crazy thing, like all of the CEOs of the big labs signed a statement that this is an existential risk comparable to nuclear war and pandemics, and they're all saying we might have it in 3 years. So we really like could need those extra five years now, and it's like a little bit crazy that people are not like upset about it. And I mean, I understand that they need to engage in this arms race, but holy crap, like it is unprecedented. Like I can't give an other example of someone being like, oh, we're building this technology that might destroy us all, and we all sign up to that like publicly, and we're like, by the way, we will build it in 3 years. Like something is a little bit messed up there, and I think people need to pay attention, because it's like the Nobel Prize laureates and also the academics that invented this technology in the first place that are saying like, this is real, this threat is real, and we need to take it seriously.